Hello, everybody. It's me, JuiceeSaft. Where have you been? What's going on? Why do you look worse? All of these questions, except the last one, I will gladly answer. This is an update video that I've been meaning to do for a long time, and with the new year, I thought what better time than to try to do a New Year's resolution of actually following through and posting more things. A lot has happened for me with losing my phone due to it breaking, multiple versions of my phone breaking due to who knows what, all kinds of things. One time my phone just cut out. Nothing else happened. I barely dropped it. I know that sounds like I'm dropping it a lot. I mean that as in like I dropped it once, twice in a case. And over time it just conked out. And replacing it was too expensive at the time, and even getting it repaired was too expensive. And that is a constant recurring theme for me. I mean, I know how pathetic it is, and what I really don't want is to be the guy that's always online being like, I need money. But I do, because I'm broke, and I work. I have a job, I plug it in. I think it's just that my hours are never consistent because I work in construction. So, but that has taken up most of my time. What with the job and many other things. Well, another thing, I had a kid, another one, a beautiful, lovely child that took up a lot of my time, both with many different types of tremendous experiences that have been getting in the way, tremendous in the sense of both good and bad, death and family, moving crises and things like that. It has been extremely difficult. And yes, I've gone through a little bit of depressive episodes, and I still have a lot of those issues right now that have prevented me from, even when I did rarely find the time, to uploading anything, recording anything. Yeah, it's just not, I'm not really good at telling stories, so you'll have to forgive me that it takes me a while to think of, I'm not used to talking about things in my life. I have that very specific kind of upbringing in my mind that, the kind of person where, horrible things happen to them left and right, and they're just like, no, I can't really think of anything that's going on. Just the other day I'm getting stabbed or shot, and I'm like, no, my weekend was fine. I can't really think of anything that would, nothing's really coming to mind that would bother me, right? I mean, Lord, and also that is mainly the thing that I've been so preoccupied that I haven't really compartmentalized or even thought about these things. I haven't been putting them in a list of like, this happened. I think the most recent, I know the most recent thing that's happened to me is losing my cat on Christmas. I lost it was my girlfriend's cat, then my cat. Just in general, of like, obviously, when people move in together and they're sharing. I also, obviously, you guys don't really know a lot about me. I don't really share a lot, and I'm a very private person. Not because of any real reasons. I don't know. I like to keep an arm's distance from everybody, whether it's in my personal life or professional life. I just don't think it really matters all that much to know every last detail. But you guys know I'm having financial crisis. You'll know that because I have to shuffle on and be like, please help. But I've been homeless so many times, so it really doesn't bother me fully. I think I'm just more irritated. I think it's just like this defensive response to like somebody being like, dang, you always needing a handout. I am poor. All right? Every dollar I got goes to bills. I truly don't buy things for myself. I always get them, or something happens. Who knows, right? Like maybe one rare time I get really lucky and I have enough to get myself something. I had to, honestly, there wasn't one moment where I had a little bit more money out of nowhere, right? And I went ahead and splurged and got myself something to help me with streaming and recording and things like that. And I didn't end up having the time to do it. But more going back to what happened with my cat. Delilah, I knew for 3 years. My girlfriend had her for 5 or 6. I knew her for 3 of those years and had her for 3 of those years. God, just a lovely. She was a I want to say ragdoll and maybe snowshoe mix. We weren't really sure. The shelter my girlfriend got her from wasn't very aware. They said that she was approximately 5 or 6, that she had a hard life, that her previous owner brought her in a freaking, hamper and just dropped her off. And their dog used to chase her around and all those things. And she was just so nervous because of it. And it took her a long time to warm up to me when I was just meeting her for the first time. And it's so funny. The only thing that changed that, because she was always somebody that was interested. When you were in a space that she was comfortable with, she would come up to you and she would want you to touch her and everything. But when you were around her in any other room, she would freak out and run up the stairs or hide behind something or try to get into the chimney, for instance. But one day I pet her for an hour straight up an hour, just petting her and petting her and petting her and petting her. Never got tired of it. She was just living the life, purring louder than a freaking motorcycle engine. And then after that, you can hear my cheapy phone that I've been using temporarily going off right now. I apologize for that. After that changed around me. She wouldn't run immediately. She'd be interested. She was still nervous, but she would kind of want, it was more like she was nervous around the environment around her and was worried that somebody else was going to come to her, but she was always just inching around. And then when we got back into my place, when my girlfriend moved with me, she was living somewhere else with a roommate. And then that fell through because the roommate situation was bad. To many parts, some her fault, some the other person's fault. It was, roommate stuff. And then the actual landlord themselves was like, I don't want to rent to you guys because she's, a mess herself. So that was funny because that's not important. That's other people's business and I'm not going to get into because it's not fair or right. And I always feel uncomfortable with that. But when Delilah moved in with us, or with me, and we moved in together, she completely was happy as can be, just sprawled out, went wherever she wanted. She was bold, and she was an indoor cat for sure. I always worried that, like, if I left the door open, she'd run out. But this girl was adamant of, like, I'm staying right in here. She eventually got brave enough to venture out into the backyard, for instance, but I just never worried of her like trying to sneak out and run away. It was honestly more like I always thought of it funnily, like funny wise, like, oh, she's going out for a smoke break. She's just taking the air. She needs to take the edge off, right? But she was lovely, and she was gentle around our child when he came in. We were worried, but. We honestly think that maybe she had kittens because she was extreme. Like when you played kitten noises around her, she was like bolting. If she heard it somewhere, like she could be downstairs. If you played a video like on TikTok, just scrolling, and a cat was meowing, she would come bolting up the stairs and hop up and. Beautiful cat. Loved her so much. She and I had such a specific bond. She really took to me. Wherever I went, she would kind of pop in. She came and went, but she would stay. And I think that also came to the fact that I was the one mainly feeding her for sure. I fed her. I was scooping all her litter and all that. So I think she just saw me as like, oh, well, this is the guy this is the N-word that gets shit. Oh, this is the real one. She knew that I could make things happen at a moment's notice. You know what I mean? But yeah, out of nowhere, she started separating herself from us. She started eating less. Sorry, that's going on. She started eating less. She started being around us less, and I was really concerned. But We did switch her food out, so sometimes she would pout like that, and she would be like, I'm not eating that. And she'd only ever lick wet food. She never fully ate it. It was off and on when she would eat that for years. So, it wasn't until she fully just, because this happened way in the last couple, like the month or two, like she was just completely separating herself from us. So we were wondering what was going on. And I finally felt under her belly, and she's always had moles. She's always had things that come and go all around her. She was an older cat by this time, 11 or 12 years. So she had like things on her back and her legs that would be there for a bit and then go away. But I was like, oh wow, these are huge. This doesn't feel like it normally does, because sometimes she'd have mounds of fur as well. And I'm like, I asked her, hey, did you notice? I asked my girlfriend, hey, do you notice like these hard things? And she was like, what? No. And we took her to the vet, and they said, we think that in the last like couple of months, she's developed mammary cancer. This is our best guess. We'd need to run her for tests. So we scrounged together. We tried to get money. We, crowdfunded money because we had nothing. And the vet told us, well, for $1,200, $1,400 depends, there's fluid around her lungs and around her heart from the outside that are slowly crushing it. And she is in pain, and you can drain it, but it'll come back. And there might not be anything that stops it from getting further along, like making it faster. And you could do this, and she could still, the next day it could happen. I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but she was like, if this was my cat, I would consider humane euthanasia. And pretty much everybody else was conferring with that, like, hey, there's nothing you can do. Like, this is the best thing. So we were trying to, let me answer this before, let me just look at this, because anyway, we were considering what to do, and we didn't know. You know what? I don't care. I'm going to answer a message while I'm recording, on my little tiny phone. Look, I have to do it like this. So I'll just say it while I'm talking right here. So just pretend like we're friends, and I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta stop for a second. So yeah, we took her back, and my girlfriend was beside herself, and I've always been different than other people when it comes to death of people, but with animals, it always just hits me hard. That might be the autism, but I don't know. I just felt so sad because I felt like, God, there's nothing I can do. I feel like I'm losing someone that I was honestly just starting to get to know fully, like she was such a presence in my life that watching her deteriorate, get thinner, skinnier, it just broke me, and I wanted to solve it, and I just felt so pathetic that I'm so poor, and that even if it meant that I could give her like a moment more of not having pain before I put her down, I would have loved to have the ability to afford draining her lungs, draining the fluid, and just getting her, like having her eat and be a little fuller before she's put down, so she can Sorry, give me 1 second. This is my girlfriend who is responding to me. You know what it is that like it's always like I always start recording a video, and then I'm like, oh, now I have to completely throw away the video, and I'm not going to do that anymore. You can just skip ahead. It's not going to kill you, right? I'm not trying to be professional here. This is just an update video. Up. turn that down. Okay. It'll only take a couple more minutes, seconds, whatever. Anyway. So that was in December, and we're like, okay, well, we got to figure out what we got to do. We got to we scheduled it for after Christmas. We were going to have Christmas, have our last Christmas with her, and then put her down. And we were looking into getting everything ready for that. And I was upstairs with her. We were laying her in the bed because she was laying on the floor a lot, and we just wanted her near us. So we would lay her on the bed very gently and just be around her and pet her. And she breathed. Her breathing was so ragged. It's been ragged for so long, and it was awful to listen to, but we'd pet her. And I'm up here with her, with my son on me, laying down because I'm getting him to sleep. And I have her next to me, and my girlfriend's downstairs, and she's getting stuff ready, trying to call to people, and taking care of herself as well. And I'm petting her over here, and I'm just touching her very lightly, and saying hi Delilah, hi, how are you? And I'm just laying with her, and at some point she just jumps off the bed, and I thought, oh, okay, that's a lot of energy, but she's done that. Okay, no big deal. She just wasn't tired of being on the bed. And I didn't think of anything because I could hear her breathing still. She was still breathing very loudly. And I don't know when it happened. The breathing just stopped. And I didn't notice because your brain just tuned it out. And it was like a very short window of when it stopped and when my girlfriend came up. And she opened the door. She was like talking to me, and then she was like, Delilah, really loudly. And I was like, no, it just came out of me. I feel embarrassed about it, but I was like, no way. Like, that's not the right response, but I was like, no. And she was lying there, dead, right next to my son's bed. She didn't leave the room. She just got up, laid on the ground, and she died on Christmas after we got gifts and everything. I really feel like she kept herself here for a lot longer. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I feel terrible about it that she suffered at all, even slightly. But yeah, she just passed away right there. We had somebody come that night to take her and cremate her. We cremated her with her blanket. She had this blanket that we always put in the carrier. And we cut off pieces of it to keep with us and tufts of her hair. And I remember trying to get my son to lay down because he's somebody that does not want to, like, he will not sleep unless it's on somebody, and you have to be very careful. I'm just trying to put him down there because my girlfriend's immediately calling to like get somebody to do this, and I have to put him down, pick her up, and take her downstairs to get her out of the room. And I lay her gently on the couch because there's just nowhere else. I'm just laying her there, and I have to go back because my kid is screaming, and I get him down. Finally, I put him back down, and I go down there, and I just have her in my lap, and I'm just petting her. And her body was still warm and soft. She wasn't getting stiff yet, but her mouth was just open, and her eyes open. And I remember just trying to close her mouth, just trying to close it very gently, and I couldn't, and just because I just didn't want her to look so dead. But I just petting her, and I was holding her there, and I was just hoping, because my girlfriend was, frantic and torn up because she's known this cat for so long. This is her baby, I mean, anybody would be torn up if you have a heart. But I just wanted her. I was just thinking, like, how do I tell her to come sit down and get the last bits of this cat's warmth, so it's not feeling like I'm taking all of it and then it's just my leg warmth, right? But it was terrible. It was terrible. She was so sweet all the way up until the end. She never scratched us. She did when we tried giving her medicine. We were doing medicine for a bit to try to help it before we knew that there was nothing we could do. And honestly, I still have her litter. I only just now threw away her food. But her litter is still there. A lot of her stuff is still around. And it's that feeling of like, well, once you get rid of it, that's it. That's all she wrote. You know, like she's gone. We already have her ashes. We have her paw prints. We have tufts of her hair. We have everything. And, you know, when I pass her cat tree, or I passed the litter box, or I passed that food, it kind of felt like she was still there, right? But, yeah. And that's been pretty much a constant thing. I mean, a year before my girlfriend lost her grandmother, you know, it's just been thing after thing after thing. And it's hard. It's really hard. We are trying our best to get by, you know. I know that I need to record more. I know that I need to use this, whatever this is, the momentum of TikTok and whatever I can to make something. But, you know, it is hard to do that. But as I call it the dude thing, you know, regardless of your gender identity, like it's that you know, that typical like swallow it, put it down, don't think about it kind of thing. It switches on for me like a coping mechanism. I am going to record more. I am going to do more. It will not be consistent, but I am going to try. And I always say that, and I always keep making that promise. But, you know, definitely if I can start seeing the fruits of that labor and it becomes more worthwhile to dedicate time to it, hell, if I can get monetized, if I can start getting more people on my streams and start making some extra cash on the side for this, then, you know, hey. So, if you are a follower of mine, consider following me on Twitch as well, and all my other socials like Twitter, Instagram. It's all JuiceeSaft or JuiceeSaft. You know it's me because there'll be pictures of me like on Instagram, or you'll see all of my unhinged kind of horrible takes that I give every single day. I'm very opinionated. It's funny, like on TikTok, people always said like, oh, I liked him when he wasn't talking about politics. And I've always done that. I verbatim would regurgitate whatever I said on Twitter in a video, you know, and I do that all the time. I can't help it. And you're probably going to see that. I'm probably going to be making political videos alongside like gaming stuff, because I'm just going to let this be what I want it to be instead of just trying to market it and be like, this is the niche I'm going to fill. I'm not filling a niche. I'm posting what I want and doing what I want. And if there is something out of it, great. If you are some random person and you've watched this to this point or skipped to this point, whatever, consider subscribing to my YouTube channel to help me grow. Consider following me on all my socials and just follow along. There's plenty of other videos that aren't expertly made, but maybe that's part of the charm. So thank you very much for your time and labor watching this. And I hope this new year will be better for you and for me, but for everybody. I love you all, even if I don't know you, unless I don't, if I knew you. But even then, I probably still love you deep down because I value humanity even the people that I on many of my social platforms say that many terrible things should happen to. If you change your behavior, I love you. Thank you so much. This has been JuiceeSaft signing off.